If we could call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Here.
Giovannini, Eckhoff.
Here.
Callis, Lee,
Here.
Hauser.
Here.
Bradshaw.
Here.
Cranford, Howard.
Here.
Willie.
Here. Thank you. Being the first meeting of the month, we are obligated to have a meeting of the Civic Center Authority. With no business before the authority, we will adjourn that meeting and move right into our regular meeting with the two items on our consent agenda. You've had a chance.
I move to approve A and B of the minutes and the payment of the bills.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Barb, seconded by Jamie. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Bradshaw. Yes. Howard.
Yes.
Willie.
Yes. Thank you. Moving on to the regular agenda. Item A, the Leffler license agreement.
Mr. Leffler is here.
Yeah.
Yep, yes, sir.
Please step up to the podium.
I just kind of go through what your proposal is.
My family, we're wanting a fence put up a little past the pine trees. I'm guessing it's part of Pontiac's and mine. So we want it on the other side of the pine fence to give us a little bit more room for our dogs and our kids. And I got paperwork here, I think you guys probably have that too, where I want it, not a big area, just a small spot in the back of my yard.
That map should be on the back of your agreement.
Yeah.
This is a licensing, not a variance?
No, because we've done this, a lot of different things, putting mailboxes out on, like along the edge of the street, on the berm, the people build a brick or whatever mailbox they are. We've had fence ones, there's no sidewalk in this area, so it doesn't interfere with the sidewalk at all. And it won't get over far enough for the off-street parking, because that's still there too.
Correct.
And it kinda lines up with a black wrought iron type of fence to the north.
Yeah, behind me, yeah.
But what we've done is say, okay, we'll allow you to do this, but you gotta understand, number one, if something happens because of it, you're liable.
Yeah.
And they have to he has to go to his insurance carrier and get us added as an additional insured and give us proof of insurance. And they acknowledge in this license agreement that we can terminate if it gets in the way of something. We want to put sidewalks in, then he has to move the fence. If they go through there doing utility work and has to move utilities, and they have to take the fence down, he's gotta worry about putting it back up, if it gets in the way of something happening. And we've done dozens of these over the years, just as a way of letting somebody use our right of way, maybe not as generally intended, but at least they're coming and asking, and they know that if something changes, we can change it.
Right.
They can't say, well, gosh, I put the fence up there, you let me do that, now you're making me take it down.
Yeah, I got paperwork here. I've signed, me and my wife have signed to agree on everything too right here.
And so we've done several of them. It's not a variance per se, if it was the wrong height or the wrong type, or it's facing, I think you've got wood panels laying in the yard, looks like it's gonna
Yes,
be
sir.
a wood panel fence, and the good side out.
Yep.
And the height wise, it's far enough away from the intersection, I don't think we have any height problems on the corner. And I assume the fence, if Greg was gonna issue a permit for it, the fence was the right height. There was
Yeah,
nothing-
yeah, I got everything approved and everything from Greg, yeah.
So,
Okay.
Are the trees planted inside your yard, or outside the yard, your yard? Like, which side of the blue line are the trunks of the trees on?
Okay, so so technically, it's kind of weird. So if you're standing right here, the tree's right here in front of you, it's actually half in my yard and half in Pontiac.
I doubt if they're ones the city planted, it's probably a former property owner planted them there very
On the
close to
line.
the line, that was majority.
Yeah,
of the property.
they're like right on edge, like
Yeah,
right
there's
there.
no survey to determine this blue line, by the way.
No,
That's
yeah, that's
just
what Greg said.
eyeballing from alignment on the aerial photo. A survey might be off, it might be 6 or 8 inches. But for the purposes, it gives you an idea how far over. And we had an issue once on removing, was it a walnut tree on Grove Street, I think? That the question was it our tree or their tree? Became a very expensive tree to remove. And it was determined, if it's more than half on their side, with an actual line, it was probably planted on their side and grew into our side and vice versa. The problem is, trees can be little, all planted on one side, and when they grow,
Right.
they plant.
So they're not clearly in one spot.
They're not clearly anyways. I got a feeling that most people, if the tree caused a problem, would call the city and say, you need to trim the tree. And Chris would look at it and say, no, that's not our tree, it's your tree.
How far is this from the street?
How far from what? The tree from the,
No, your fence, your proposed fence.
I think when I measured it, well, there's still gravel. You guys poured gravel there last year, so there's plenty of room for a car to sit there, plus some.
It's 8 or 10 feet.
Yeah, at least that.
From the edge of the pavement of the non-curb and guttered street,
Yeah,
because it's got parking on the west side.
yep.
So it's that, from that far to the grass?
It cuts way into the grass. You can kind of see the shadow on the tree.
Gravel. So are you saying like this stuff here is gravel?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, all that got gravel from the
Okay.
city of Pontiac like 2 years ago. I bought the house 3 years ago. 2 years ago, you guys, or Pontiac, whoever, poured a bunch of gravel right there on that side.
Where does this go in the way you measured in proximity to where that gravel is? How close to the gravel does it get? Right to it?
No, it's actually, see, this picture don't do justice unless you go in my yard and see it. So from the tree, I got this much grass from the tree to where the gravel starts, probably like that much. I'm gonna be in between there, so it'll only be closer to gravel, so there'll be plenty of room for whatever.
You're barely outside the tree trunk.
Correct, yes, sir.
Is there a reason to not put the fence on the inside of the trees?
It just, my OCD just wouldn't look right how I wanted it, and none of that, I got 3 trees there, and 2 dogs that maybe want to urinate on it, you know? And it's, like I said, and like that gentleman said, it'll line up with the other fence, my neighbors behind me too.
No trees are coming down or anything.
What's that?
No trees are coming down?
No,
And this does not change the ownership. If they're a city tree, they're still a city tree.
yeah,
And if we have to do something with the fence to work on the city tree, we can do it,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it's all
It's
posted.
making, just like most of the people that have asked for this, they want to have a little bigger area for their kids to play, for their dogs to run. And it's a relatively small backyard. That doesn't mean anything. I mean, they bought it that way, so. It's at your discretion. They can't, we will not allow someone to put anything in the street right of way knowingly, known to us, without council approval.
Any other questions for Mr. Leffler?
I'm okay, I'll make a motion to this licensing agreement.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mike, seconded by Jason. Roll call, please.
Eckhoff?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Cowser?
Yes.
Bradshaw?
No.
Howard?
No.
Willie?
No.
Barr?
Yes.
And Frank, do you want to vote since you just walked in?
No.
You're voting no or no vote?
No vote.
Okay.
And by the way, we just should have said this before, but Chris was aware of the situation. It wasn't gonna impair his plowing or anything. He had no objection to
It did pass? Yes. Okay.
Do you
You're-
guys
you're all
need the
set,
papers
Mr.
that
Leffler.
I signed, my wife and I? Or do I give it to Greg tomorrow?
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
you'll get with Greg.
Yeah, please do.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have is Brian here?
He's not,
Oh,
so I'll take care of these.
okay, well, Jim is going to pretend to be Brian and go over our topographical survey.
So we have the, B and C are both topographical surveys from Chamlin and Associates. Item B is the play park bike trail. You can see on the map, that's the proposed area of the survey. That's the next step in the process, is to survey the area. Proposal from Chamlin for a fee of $3,500. That will consist of a full topographical 50-foot cross-sectional interval, setting 2 benchmarks and any structure inverts if necessary.
And just to refresh me, what are we planning to do there? Are we paving that?
It'll be, yeah, it would be a paved path.
Right.
Removal of the existing road? Question mark.
Question mark, yes.
Question mark, right.
Yeah.
I know over the years, that's been
Yep.
part
Yeah.
of the conversation, just. I would
Okay.
motion acceptance of the proposal for the topographic survey at Pelly Park.
I'll second.
Motion by Kelly, seconded by Mike. Roll call, please.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes,
Thank you. Jim is Brian.
Yes.
On the next
So the
piece.
next one is the topographical surveys from the capital plan on Rittenhouse Drive and Norman Drive. You can see those circled on the map. That topographical survey, the same thing, it's a full topographical 50 cross-foot sectional interval, 2 benchmarks on each street, and a structure inverts if necessary. The next step prior to the construction. And those are part of the PCC for the year.
So, same question, what exactly are we doing? It's such an untraveled spot, what exactly are we doing there?
Yeah, so on Norman is definitely it's a small section, but it's in bad shape. And so that was in the capital improvement plan for the year. And then Rittenhouse was that area between Aldi and Walmart.
High traffic.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
TIF eligible, those are TIF
Yeah.
eligible expenditures, correct?
Yes.
Discussed.
The Aldi one is for sure. I'd have to look at the Norman. I'm not sure Norman is.
I would motion acceptance of the topographical survey for Rittenhouse and Norman.
Second.
Those were all in the budget.
Yeah. Okay, motion by Kelly, seconded by Barb. Roll call, please.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Lee.
Yes.
And we're back to capital improvement on sidewalk maintenance.
Yep. So,
Brian, you're doing good.
thank you. The bids were open for the 2025 sidewalk maintenance on February 4th. They are included behind the memo, and Opperman Construction was the low bid. And that would be on the back side of that, the sidewalk plan of $189,952.98. And we would recommend that the award be awarded to Opperman Construction for the sidewalk.
And that
Again, capital improvement budgeted.
was budgeted, yeah.
How many bidders were there?
3, there were, let's see, Apple, Kankakee Valley, and Opperman.
It's a good bid compared.
Motion, please.
Make the motion.
Motion by Jerry, seconded by Jason Lee. Roll call, please.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser.
Yes.
Thank you. And one more time.
Last time.
Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and so this year's capital improvement plan also included north side sewer separation utility investigations. Those bids went out and they were opened on February 24th. There were 2 bidders for those, Apple and Opperman. And Opperman was the low bid at $184,625. And we would recommend that this project be awarded to Opperman. It was a bidded capital improvement.
I'll motion to accept and see if you did.
Budgeted.
Yes. Motion by Jamie, seconded by Kelly. Roll call, please.
Howard,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Jovenini,
Yes.
Eckhoff.
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Crouser,
Yes.
Bradshaw.
Yes.
Okay. Moving right along. Utility investigation.
We just did that one.
That's right. Ordinance for sewer user rate amendment.
Yeah, so since the upgrade of the sewer plant and the closing of that project, we have our new EPA loan rate, and annually that's about $2.3 million. For the next 20 years, for the next 3 years, it'll be the 2.3, and then it drops $200,000 as one of those EPA loans falls off. In doing the projections out from the sewer plant, our rates are going to need to be increased to help cover the cost of operations in addition to the covering of the EPA loan. And we projected out a 15% increase over the next 2 years, and then as we move into next year, we'll be able to look another year out and see how we're doing and where we need to go from there. But I think in the beginning, our projections showed 2 15-year increases, and then we may need either 5 to 7%, or if things are looking okay, we drop back down to what the ordinance requires, which is the CPI used for PTEL each year. So we'll know coming out a little further in the operations. Right now, the minimum water charge for anyone whose water consumption does not exceed 200 cubic feet per month is $12.38, which is $6.19 per 100 cubic feet metered. And so $6.19 would be the current charge for any use in excess of the 200 cubic feet. We would propose that a minimum charge effective April 1 of 2025 be $14.24 per 1 month for all users whose water consumption does not exceed 200, and then half of that, which is $7.12 per 100 cubic feet metered or adjusted in excess of 200 cubic feet per 1 month period. And then section 2 would be just moving into the next year as well. That minimum charge of $16.38, and then for each 100 cubic feet after that, $8.19.
Any questions to bring before Brian, Jim?
To must
It's-
do, so.
Pardon me?
The motion.
Yep. Motion to approve from Jerry,
I'll second it.
seconded by Jamie. Roll call, please.
Lily,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Jovenini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Crouser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving right along, I see Liz Vincent is at the podium to talk to us about art cars and their purchase. Liz?
Good evening, council and mayor. I have a memo in the packet asking for the purchase of art cars. It kind of explains the turnaround for the car purchase will take 5 to 7 weeks minimum. So placing them now will allow us time. Placing the order now will allow us time to implement a plan to get a new program in place. My The second sheet has photos and pricing. There are some that are a little different than what we have had previously, different shapes. The two-seater is different, the 1950s is different, and the locomotive is different. I think it's worth noting one of these is actually a replacement for the Hampton Inn. It was recently ran into, so it's actually just to replace it for them. They'll reimburse us for the purchase.
Can you address, because we've had some questions recently, can you address, one, what's going to happen with the current ones, that some are in storage and some are not being brought back out? Why is that happening, and what are we going to do with those?
So we actually did retire some last year, and everyone that was an artist on those was contacted if they wanted them back. Nobody did. So I believe they were. I would have to find out for sure, but they're no longer in use. I guess it would be up to council what we want to have happen with the other ones. And then, I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Our recommendation would be to offer them back to the original artists first. Some of them have some structural issues with them, and so that would be our recommendation, is to offer them back to the original artists. So going forward, this program, then we would be looking to, after this purchase, this year we would probably be looking at around 5 new ones that we would hope to have completed before midsummer and have them introduced, and then the next year we would introduce approximately that many more. And that way we could run a program where there will be an all-call for request for proposals. We will have that committee that will be put together. Our proposal for a committee would be a member of the council, someone from the Greater Livingston County Arts Council, and then someone from the downtown business, since that's really our focus, and then someone from staff. So then they could look at those proposals and put together and approve a list of, I know some of the issues that were brought up were whether we would like to not have things added on to them. And just from us talking, we're okay with letting that committee make that decision. Our thought was, yeah, that's probably in the interest of the program and for maintenance, is to make them stay the way they are and not have accessories built onto those things to where they're just painted. And I know another question was whether they would be clear coated. Yes, and that would be our plan too. Would be the program would cover the costs of them getting painted, them getting clear coated, and then we would, like we do now, we would introduce them out and have them attached to the downtown, and then remove them at winter.
What are the materials that they use to make the old ones and the new ones? Are they different
The
materials?
cars,
Yeah.
they're made out of fiberglass.
Fiberglass.
Okay, and the old ones were too?
The
Yeah.
older ones were too. Yeah, the other ones were too. Yep.
So if the artists don't take them back, are we gonna try to repaint them,
No.
reissue them,
So the
or
problem-
auction them
They're
off, or?
The problem, we didn't necessarily want, the artists that took the time to paint them, we didn't want to cover up their work. And so we felt like if they're out of commission and the artist doesn't want them back, we kind of felt like then that's pretty much the end of them. And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the correct answer for that is. My own thought would be if the artist didn't want it back, then it'd be disposed of. So if they're not suitable for being out on display anymore, because like I said, some of them are damaged. And
Structural problems.
Yeah, you don't want to sell something broken or put somebody else in harm's way. Because part of this program too is we know what the lure has been downtown, and so we want to make sure that we put out a list of rules for the all-call for request for proposals that's pretty clear and concise. They're going to be displayed publicly, and we understand that the public is going to be able to interact with them and touch them kids are going to sit on them. We're not gonna be able to stop any of that stuff.
And this will be a TIF project too.
Would we create a written agreement with the artist?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best plan, is that we create an agreement that outlines from the request for proposal what the expectations are on their side and our side, and that way there's no questions. Yes, we want to create a program that our local artists really get excited about, and I mean the art cars have been a huge hit. I mean, everybody talks about them. They're mentioned in just about every time there's a travel magazine or blog that comes through. And so, yeah, we felt, especially with the anniversary coming on 66, that what was supposed to be a 1 or 2 year venture that turned into 13 or 14 years says a lot. So,
Would there be any age that, I mean, like if junior high students wanted to submit a request for proposal, or high school students that are artists? I mean,
I think we have to be more into an adult program for that. I don't think it would be obligating their parents and others then. So
If
there's
gonna
a
have
lot
them
of high
sign an
school artists,
agreement.
though. Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
right.
yeah.
But yeah, and I think we don't have all the details of that exactly worked out, but kind of the thought process is in that request for proposals, they will come into, we'll put out, I guess, like a drawing or something. They can give us kind of a rough sketch idea of what they plan to do, and those will come in, and then they will be presented to the committee without any knowledge of who the artist is, and then they can select
Right.
the ones that they select. Like for the first year, let's say there's 5, they select the top 5 choices, and then those ones will be commissioned.
Okay.
So if we're only doing 5, why are we buying 17?
So we felt like we'll get the best price over the years if we have them all, and then we'll be able to implement the next request for proposal sooner, so they can get back out on the street quicker.
And there's various events where introducing a new vehicle might be advantageous, so we'll see how that works out too.
How many have we retired? Do you know? Approximately nothing.
I think probably around 12. I think if we had 17 or 18, we have 6 maybe
And
that
how many
have
more-
been used.
And how many more of those that are going back out
Yeah.
won't go back out?
That
I mean,
won't-
There's some additional
We
ones.
think this year there's probably going to be 5 or 6 out, I think, from the last group.
So buying that amount
Mm-hmm.
actually replaces a lot of that.
Right.
Right.
And then so after these ones are introduced, the next year we can retire some of the other ones. And in the end, have a whole new fleet, I suppose you would call it,
Yeah.
of art.
Were the old ones clear coated? Like automotive?
I think so.
That-
I don't know.
My understanding was that they were, but I wasn't here for it, so.
I'm having a hard time trashing those. 'Cause that's a lot of stuff to just,
They were clear coated?
Structurally, they're starting to.
Joni and Ed said they were clear coated.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyhow, the idea is that we're going to have a surplus to work with and build on to keep the program running. And so if we can negotiate the pricing to be compatible, which it is,
I just thought maybe, we get high school involved or something like that, in a rehab program or something, so maybe the art class, you might want to have a couple of them, or the old ones that are,
well, like, again, if we're going to do it under contract, we need to be,
They could theoretically,
It's not
if,
something
say,
you-
an art class in the high school on
Right.
the school.
the old ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that
they're not
would
going
be
anywhere, they're
some
just for
individual
the kids in the art
junior high
class,
artists.
He's talking about the old ones.
Oh,
a program to, cycle them somehow.
Instead of throwing them away.
Get some, instead of
Right.
throwing away, get some kind of use out of it.
School art teacher had a class for them, or a group to them. And, the junior high had a class for them. So it was the teacher that was responsible.
Okay.
right.
We might
there's an
contact the
adult
schools and
involved.
see if they might.
So there is actually
Want a
an
couple.
adult involved.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
As far as the old ones go, maybe they might be interested.
we can investigate that.
Yeah, I think we're fine with that. We just didn't want them to show up somewhere else and
Right.
then someone else try and sell them and make money off of somebody else's work.
I get that.
Okay. All right,
I would motion acceptance of the proposal to purchase the 17
second.
cars.
motion by Kelly, second by Jason, to buy some cars. Roll call, please.
Barr,
Yes.
Giovanini,
Yes.
Eckhoff,
Yes,
Lee,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Bradshaw,
Yes.
Howard,
Yes.
Willie.
Yes.
Thank you, council.
Thank you.
just one quick question. Will the plan come back to us before
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
It'll all
And, in all hopes, one of you will be on that committee anyway that made that plan.
Yeah, okay.
Jerry.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. The one little announcement, it says here, mayor's announcement, starting this week, actually, WJEZ radio station is going to bring back the community forum program on a weekly basis. And they're going to be interviewing various people within the city to make comments on our meetings and events coming up. So we'll get a little bit more exposure on what's going on. The other thing is that we need to have a committee of the whole again. We initially set up for next Monday, the 10th, and Jim feels 5:30 would be an ideal time, and so we want to put that into our agenda.
It's Monday.
Is that what we did?
Okay. Any problems anybody foresee?
What day was that?
I
The
will
10th,
not,
No.
Monday, the 10th, a week from today.
It's the 17th.
I will not be able to make that.
Yeah, I won't be here either.
It is my only day off
Well, we'll do it early then. No.
for the month, so
Okay.
I won't be here.
We may have to reevaluate because that would leave us without a quorum.
Yep.
Okay. We'll have to look at a date that we can have a quorum here. Jason?
Anything after Wednesday of next week. So Thursday,
Okay.
Friday, I'm good.
What time were you looking at, in the evening?
5:30,
5:30. Anytime that week, is that what you're looking at, something?
hopefully.
I can do Wednesdays. Great.
I'm
Gone
out all
Wednesday.
week, so, but Scott will be back, he gets back, I have a text from him this morning, he gets home, I think he'll be home on Monday, actually. Yeah, he'll be back the 10th, so he'll be back next week.
So I'm good.
So you're
any-
thinking the 12th
I'm
would
good
work
on the
for, but other than you,
12.
12th. I'm good on the 12th.
you're good?
I am too.
That's Wednesday.
Put it in for the
You said
12th then.
Yeah, Wednesday, great, yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
And we'll plan on 5:30.
The young lady, you guys? okay?
Wednesday, right?
No, you're not?
Barb said she
When
was
can you make
okay.
it?
I can come Thursday.
Thursday or Friday for
I can
me.
come Thursday or Friday, or I can come the next week on Tuesday or Friday.
Well, Thursday or Friday is good for me. It's better for you
I
guys.
could do Thursday. I could do, you're talking
Yeah.
Thursday the 13th, right?
Yeah,
Or are you talking-
Thursday the 13th.
I
Yeah,
can do Thursday the
Yes, I can
13th,
do
Friday
Thursday.
the 14th.
and I can too. I'm
Yeah.
open at anywhere from Wednesday through Friday.
I am other than Monday. So, yeah.
What time, 5:30?
5:30, is that what we got now?
any other dates?
I got Wednesday. We're on Thursday now?
Thursdays.
Thursday.
So Thursday,
Thursday.
Thursday. So what is,
Okay,
Okay,
Sorry.
Thursday, the 13th at 5:30. Thank you.
5:30.
okay.
okay, just
I'll
send us a reminder.
5:30. Okay. There's just one item on the agenda for that night?
Correct.
Right, okay. So we should be pretty good. Okay. The only other thing is that next week we'll be welcoming Brad Duncton as the new superintendent at the water treatment facility. And we look forward to his arrival. And other than that, we had a pretty good week here in Pontiac, Illinois, weather-wise and community-wise. City council comments.
I'm sure.
Nothing tonight? Okay. City administrator.
Really short. Just a reminder that baseball signups, there's still some space and time for that. So junior baseball, just get a hold of the rec center if you want your kids to play softball or baseball. The rec center, if you didn't see on their Facebook page, they put out some statistics on the use of the ice rink. And this year from opening until close, February, they had 2172 from Illinois, a few from a number of other states, a couple from Italy. So that was pretty interesting. And then also they put out some data who those Illinois were. The bulk, of course, were from Pontiac, and then Streeter, Fairbury, Odell, Flanagan, Bloomington, Dwight, and Chenoa in that order. So check out their Facebook page if you want to look at that data. That is pretty interesting.
Okay. Public comments. Would you want to get up at the podium so we could hear you?
Hold on.
Yeah, well,
I'll talk louder from here. It's a little unstable. A little history about the art cars. And I've been a Pontiac resident long enough so I can say I can't remember the woman's name. Her parents were John and Julie Melberg.
okay.
And she was employed by the city, and she decided that she was going to do something to support the artists. If someone else knows her name, please tell me.
Arbogast, Kristen Arbogast.
Okay. Thank you. And then Lori Fairfield solicited the next year. We went to Paducah that developed an arts colony to promote their downtown, their old downtown, and developed it, became a thriving business community. Lori Fairfield solicited doors for people, abandoned doors, and the Pontiac artists did the downtown doors. And they were set up by the city, and there were a variety of doors that were decorated in various ways. I don't know if people remember that or not.
Is that where that poster comes from?
Yes.
No, that's not.
No,
These
right.
were
Okay.
art
These were
doors.
actual doors that,
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
these
front,
were
that's
art
front
doors
doors around
set
town.
up.
Okay, I saw
People
those.
added things to them and did that kind of thing, painted them, did different things. That was interesting enough, and Lori was able to get some money, and we did the downtown dogs. And that was purely volunteer, the artists paid for the materials and everything else. But the artists weren't consulted in what was chosen, and they chose a variety of things. Now, most of these city contests, when you do city art like that, you do the same figure, because that shows the artist doing different work much more clearly. If you do these different figures, that becomes just sort of a design thing that you want. I don't know if the artists have been consulted on these choices or not. But anyway, the thing that's disturbing about what happened tonight to me is that you don't really have a plan for what you're going to do with the artists. I mean, you should have a paper sort of, now, when you're presenting this should be something that's already been thought of. You've decided you purchased these things, and you haven't thought of how this program is actually going to function. And I know some things can change at some point, but you haven't really thought of that. And if you don't get your 5 artists, or you don't get this, or you don't get that, what is your alternative plan? And the cars that have been retired are broken in some respects. They could be repaired. They could be just painted all one color. of the things that's really disturbing to me is that when you put out my work and something's broken in it or scratched or sloppy or it looks bad, you know, somebody's done something to it to damage it, it's kind of insulting to me. But I also think it says something about the city that you don't look at the things that you own and take care of. If you're happy with something that's scratched and broken and bad, you know, big cracks in it or whatever, it shows that you don't really care about those things.
Do you think we retired them because we didn't give a damn or something? I mean, I don't understand
No,
your
for 3 years,
stuff.
Bill, I have been writing to you about this.
Yeah.
And you keep telling me a different answer to it. But no, if it's broken, it should be retired.
Yeah, well, they've been retired. We fixed
Now
what we
they
could
have it.
fix.
I'm saying if you're going to be doing this, you need
Yeah.
to also consider that. You should be responsible for trying to make them look good, and not insult the artist. And also because you should be considering the fact that you don't want something that's damaged being displayed in your town. I mean, you don't leave graffiti on places. You know,
So
and
what
Yeah.
is it specifically that you're proposing?
I'm just saying, it's something that you need to look at.
I'm just asking, it seems like you got a lot of ideas. What specific things are you
You've already
proposing?
voted on these variety things. You can let people climb on it, but you're gonna get more damage to them. You could also mount them up on something, and then people wouldn't climb on it. And it's not just little kids that climb on it, and it's not the little kids that are doing the
Yeah.
damage.
So are you saying that having people climb on them is a bad idea?
Yes, we asked before, when we first did these, we asked to have signs
Yeah.
put on to not, which other communities do for all of theirs.
Okay, so what you're saying is when we
Don't
come up with
climb
the
on
plan,
them.
we
You're letting
need a
people
sign.
climb on them,
You would
or
like
you're
a
going to
sign
get
that
some
says,
damage. So
don't
if
climb
you're
on
going to
it.
do that, you need to be looking at it to make sure if there's damage, it's removed, it's taken care of.
Yeah.
That's all. You don't leave damaged things out.
Well, each year, they've been inspected and worked on and rehabbed when possible. Now, this past year, we've had, what, 8, 9 on display, and we may have not that many this year. But that's because they're just things. They get damaged, it happens. We'll take care of them. Now, if the artists,
And that's what I'm saying. You
well,
consider that.
in your opinion, we haven't. In my opinion, we have.
When they're cracked and scratched, that's not.
Well,
They've
I
lasted
understand
longer
that.
than most people's real cars.
Yeah, so let's be realistic about it,
They've
okay?
lasted, but they haven't all lasted in appropriate shape.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. And it just seems to me
But-
that the city should be aware that if there's a big crack in something or it's
I guess
scratched or
my
it's-
question is, when you say they haven't been handled they're not in appropriate shape, the word appropriate has meaning.
Means that it's, oh, okay, I'm
Okay,
meaning that.
so
if
hold on, let me
there's a big
finish.
crack
Can I
or it's not-
finish?
If it's cracked or it's scratched,
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so
the
it might
original
get a
finish.
scratch, does that make it inappropriate?
yes.
Does it matter on the degree of the scratch, how long the scratch, whether you can see the scratch, whether it's in a clear coat? Do these things matter?
It depends on if it looks damaged.
Okay, so then what I'm asking you is, you're telling us that we're handling it wrong. But all of these things that you're saying that are wrong have varying degrees. And your opinion may not be the same as our opinion. The question I asked you earlier, which I didn't really get an answer to, is what specifically is it that you are suggesting we do different?
If the city looks at them and if there is a crack or a scratch and it appears to be damaged, very obviously visually, it should be. There were things that were added to stuff that were taken out and stolen and it didn't matter.
Well,
There were things that were.
you're delving into things that happened
there were things
10
that
years
happened.
ago.
All I'm saying is, if you're going to do this program and you've already committed to the trucks, it would be useful, and I think it would be good, to consider the artist's feeling about it, but also to consider the fact that you own them, that if you want something that's out there and it looks damaged, that's a reflection on the city. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, thank you for the comments, and we have tried. Well, yes, you are, actually. This isn't an all-night affair. No, you've covered your subject. What else would you want to talk about?
I have another question
Ask your
that
question.
I want to ask, which is about the Play Park Road. Is is that going to be fixed or taken care of, or is, I've heard people say that they would just remove the road.
After the topographical study, then the plan will be laid out. It's going to be part of a bike path is what it's going to be right now. Now, the final details have not been worked out.
So you don't know if there will be a road there or not.
More than likely, there will only be a path.
So how is that going to be in line with ADA requirements for parks?
As I said, final details have not been worked out.
Okay,
So we need to find out where we end up with after the survey.
but if there's not a road, that has to be considered.
It'll all be considered. We have ADA compliance officer. We also have engineers working on it. So let's see what we get.
That's all I want to do.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, responses? If not, we would entertain a motion. Or,
I didn't know if they had something to say.
oh,
okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I just looked up and knew there was someone else
Okay,
here.
all right. All right. With that, we have a motion to adjourn and seconded by Frank. We are adjourned.